This is for the man who has tried everything. You're a business owner, you're a senior professional. Everything in your business and financial and career life is great. You've got that nice and stable, you've got that sorted. But at home, you don't feel that level of success. You don't feel that level of confidence, of leadership. Like maybe you walk on eggshells around your wife. Maybe you're reactive to her tone, to her criticism, her feedback, to the kids' tantrums, and you get defensive or you shut down, and it frustrates you because you see these traits playing out. You know what they are, and you've tried to change them, but nothing has stuck. Like you've tried maybe the ice baths, you've tried breath work, you've tried counseling or therapy, or maybe even other coaches, and they gave you some behaviors to change. They gave you some routines. They gave you some communication tips or some date night ideas, and maybe it worked for a little bit. Maybe you felt a shift in the small term, but it didn't create a long-lasting change, and that's why you're here. And then so you continue to go in that loop of the frustration, the reactive, the defensiveness, the shutting down, and then you're conscious of it and you make a little bit of a change, but it goes back. And I know how frustrating that could be. And now I'm not dissing anything that they've suggested. A lot of those tips and stuff are great, but they're surface level. And everything needs to happen in sequence. Trying to implement those without addressing the root cause will not work, right? Like trying to do things backwards in business. It just does not help. It just won't work, right? It doesn't matter how good the technique is, it won't land. And so if you've got the perfect script to seduce your wife, you've got the perfect date night idea, but you're still tense, you're still agitated, you're still reactive, and she can feel that, no script, no amount of leadership, no anything that you can do in that moment is going to give you the outcome that you want. You're going to get frustrated because it doesn't work, because you're trying, you're putting in effort. She's going to get frustrated because she's seen this before and it's the same old cycle, and maybe even you go further apart. And what all those approaches have failed to do is address the root cause, which is deeper than behaviors, deeper than just some breath work, deeper than communication, because it's not the marriage. It's not the space between you and your partner. It's in your nervous system, and deeper than that, in your identity. And that's where we're going to go. So if you're not ready for your identity and that level of depth and change to be challenged, maybe end the video here. But if you're open to hearing how that's maybe contributing to this cycle that you're in, then stay around. So the first stage is always the nervous system, right? Because if you cannot create a space between a stimulus, right, your child's tantrum, or your wife giving you feedback or criticism, or her tone changes, or the look, and you getting defensive, getting reactive, trying to defend or justify, or just going into fight, flight, or freeze mode, no technique, no anything will work, because as you've experienced, that trigger is not a conscious thought. That's your nervous system going into fight, flight mode or freeze mode, and doing what it has done every single time up until this point, which has kept you alive. And even though you want to change, staying alive is its fundamental job for you. Creating space so we can decide how we respond in that moment is the first key. But then when a lot of men stop here, they're like, cool, I've done my ice bath, I've done my breath work, I've done my journaling, I've fixed my sleep, I've removed the stimulants and the caffeine, and I've created that space. I still have this inkling to defend myself. I still need to get my story across. I still need to prove myself. I still need to have them understand my side of the story. I still need to do this way. Maybe I self-sabotage, or I feel like I can't control myself in those moments. That's deeper than the nervous system again. And if you've ever said, a part of me wants to do this, a part of me wants to do that, or, I just get in my own way. In all of that language, we've naturally insinuated that there are multiple parts of us, right? Like, how can you be in your own way? That means naturally there's you here that wants to do the thing, and then there's another you here that is like, no, we're not going to do that thing. So you've already used parts language in the past. Understanding that part, those parts of you, why they are holding you back, and being able to integrate and give them different roles so they are no longer in your way is the step a lot of men miss. And some that hear it will be like, that's therapy, it's bullshit, it's rubbish. But you already use the language. You already know subconsciously that there's multiple elements of your brain. And so when we lean into this, we can understand those parts and help to bring them out of the way. Because recognize that everything in your body, in your mind, has the same goal, is to keep you alive and is there to protect you in some capacity. And so the parts of you that are maybe getting in your way, that are defending, that are reacting, that are people pleasing, were formed when you were a child, when you were younger. They learned that way was a way to keep you safe, was to protect you from embarrassment, from shame, from guilt, from being unloved, from being abandoned, from whatever extreme emotion you felt in one moment. It's now there, and its role is to protect you from experiencing that again. And so naturally, if we have us here, the version of us that wants to be more grounded, the version of us that wants to be more present, be more masculine, be the leader, be everything that we want to be. And there's the other part that's in our own way, that's here. Recognize that it's there because it's trying to protect us from something. It sees on the other side of this action or this change is scary, is uncertainty, is the emotion that it's trying to protect you from. And it still thinks that you're a child. It still thinks that you are the age in which it was formed. Instead of trying to battle that thing and just overcome it with brute discipline and force, and I hate that part, just fucking get out, it will not work. Instead, bring it to our side of the table so we can understand it. I'm sure you've heard that term before, maybe in relationship dialogue. If you guys are battling each other, no one wins. When we bring each other onto the same side of the table, understand each other's needs, understand the perspective of the situation that we're in, how can we work together to achieve this, then we start to move in unity. And so if you've tried everything and nothing has worked, you've tried all the surface level stuff and nothing has worked, you're still reactive, you're still in this same cycle, I guarantee you it's one of those two elements. The nervous system is still not quite safe, not quite regulated. You haven't made that your default state yet. And then number two, there is a part of you that still doesn't feel safe in that change, that's still trying to protect you from something there. Now the invitation then is not just to regulate yourself, but then to be able to speak into those parts and allow them to come home. Allow them to step out of that way, to release that protective role that they've had, and know that you can handle it. That you have the capabilities, you have the strength to actually endure some discomfort, endure some exposure, some embarrassment from whatever emotion it's trying to protect you from, because you are now a strong, capable man. Now, if that lands, if that hit home, if that deeply resonated with where you're at, what you've tried, and what has been missing, that's the type of coaching that I do. That's exactly what I work with men exactly in your position to do. So there's a link below this. Apply for coaching. Doesn't guarantee that you get in, but it might enable us to have a chat to see if what I do could work for you. So let's talk.